The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
Give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up.
The best way to gain control of the most intelligent species on the planet would be to completely divide them from the love within themselves. As soon as a child is old enough to think for themselves, you force them into a system that teaches them to conform. You make them sit in a building every day, memorizing the exact same answers, so they never learn how to actually question the world around them.
So I remember when I used to be in school, I'd be thinking, and the teacher used to give out to me on the regular, you know, stop daydreaming there, Niall, and they wouldn't be that nice about it, like, back in the day, Mr. O'Keefe, and I'd snap out of it, yeah? Don't be daydreaming in the class, you're not in here to daydream, you're in here to learn, do you understand that? And I'd say, yes, yeah, I do, and I'd try and get stuck in, but my mind would constantly wander away out of the class, and my mind would wander out the window of the fucking class and not mess with you. And the kids would be chatting and I'd hear nothing. I'd be out in the river fishing and looking at the birds in nature and thinking about God, because I've always thought about God, even when I was a little child. My father brought me to church. God have mercy, he was a good Christian man, so he tried. And so look, anyway, I was out in the river and I was thinking about, I was in the class, but my mind was out in the river. And not just that, man. My mind used to wander all over the place, and teacher constantly giving out to me, oh, you won't listen, and you're constantly daydreaming. But as I got older in English, that was when I was in like 7, 8, 9, 10, this had begun on. But when I got older and I went out to the secondary school out in the camp there in Doradile, and I was able to, when I daydream out there then, you see, the teacher said, like, Master O'Keefe, you're falling asleep there, yeah? And I'd say, no, I'm not falling asleep at all, I was just thinking about things. Well, don't be daydreaming. And then I was able to speak up, because I was older, I said, I'm not daydreaming. What's been daydreaming? It's called thinking. That's what I'm doing, not dreaming, thinking. Oh yeah, would you like to enlighten the whole classroom what you're thinking about, Mr. O'Keefe? Oh, well, since you're mad, I'd say I will, yeah? And what were you thinking about? I was thinking about getting out of this place and being out in the river fishing. Sitting down in the river, smoking a cup of tea, fishing away, listening to the birds, listening to the cows, listening to the wind, the smell of cow shit coming down the river, the smell of smoky tea on the go, the voices of other fishermen and my father and ghosts gone by. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Oh well, you're supposed to be in here to learn. And I would say, sure, and I said, well, sure, you're teaching us all the same thing. And that's when the penny started dropping for me. When that hit my mind, and I looked at them, and I got into a conversation. It's amazing we start talking about something, how your mind can open up other doors and penny will drop. So that's when the penny dropped for me.
Then you only show them tragedy and violence on the news. Why? Because a society living in constant fear will never trust each other. You convince them that humanity has never been smarter than we are right now. So they never look back and question the integrity of the system they are trapped in. You make money the center of their entire existence. But you make it so hard to get that they are always struggling. You drain their energy for 5 straight days, then hand them 2 days off so they feel just enough of a reward to stay quiet and not fight back, to keep them numb on those 2 days off.
And he goes, how do you mean? I said, well, you're telling me I'm daydreaming, I'm telling you I'm thinking, and you're trying to say I'm not listening in. But I don't want to be constantly listening in, because you're teaching us, we all teaching us the same thing. Yeah, that's it, you're here to learn. And I said, but I want to think. I don't want to be constantly all my day taken up from the time I come into school in the morning, that I have to concentrate and think about stuff. And you have us all concentrating and thinking about the same thing. And if we don't answer the questions the same way, well, you won't correct them, you'll give us an X. Well, Mr. O'Keefe, you have to answer the questions. And I goes, yeah, you give us an option of 3 questions. What if I have a different answer, a better answer? and I go to write that down, you'll say I'm cheeky, or you'll say that's a fail. Is that one of the three in the list? So I used to get into it with the teachers anyway, and just after realising, look, I had a fucking brain, right? And I only came from might not have had much, but I had a brain. And as time went by, they knew the crack, and they used to tell me like, oh, listen, if you keep your head down, Niall, one of the days you'll be out in the UL. A philosopher, that's what they went from, calling me a daydreamer to telling me I'd be a philosopher out in the UL. And I said, no, I won't. And why is that? I said, because if I was to listen to you and do everything you're telling me to do, I'd never be able to think for my fucking self, would I? So then that was it, the penny dropped, man. After that, it was just me being there, being polite. The teachers used to constantly, everyone because they asked me questions about different things, lads. I don't want to get into it. Anyone who went to school with me out there can't know, right? I used to love writing poetry back in them days as well, and I was good at that. And then I went down to work, and then I had a band, and then I had to write songs, and then I had to get bands to play music, and I hadn't a clue, but yet I was able to do all this stuff, you know? And I had chances to record deals, play with the biggest rap band in the world in 1995, the House of Pain, jump around, play with them live on stage in the Theatre Royal in Limerick. The boys and they came down and played with us, and then they went back up to Dublin and they tried to look like us, but instead they looked like a bunch of simps. They tried to mimic the way we were dressed, you know, because we were like rappers, right? But not no smelly pimp rappers that talk about filth, dirt and Vicodin and horse pimps and prods, not that kind of stuff. Educational stuff I used to be rapping about. Anyway, back to it. I've always told people, and I'll say it and I'll say it again, another word for a school, a fishery. Alright? Do as we say. If you don't do as we say and get in here to the hatchery, here in the fishery, and do as we say, keep your head down, correct the boxes the way we want them corrected, not the way you free-minded thinking you can correct them. No, because think of it like you're a fish swimming up the river and the school traps you in the fishery and the teacher's like, where do you think you're going daydreaming and all this crack? Where do you think you're going, swimming off up that river? No, you're not going swimming up that river. Welcome to the fishery, welcome to the hatchery. We will let you know when you can go out of the hatchery. We will let you know what river you can swim up. Don't be thinking you're swimming up any river, because you're not. Because that's what a school of fish, a hatchery, the school of fish in the hatchery, you control the gates, you leave them up what river you choose, when you choose. You know, the fish don't realise it. In school it's the same. You're in a prison, but you can't see the motherfucking bars. But when the penny drops, you'll see them. No, I'm not saying school isn't needed, education, yes it is. Education is needed for certain things, right? And I'm not going to go through the list. Use your fucking noodle. If you want to be a doctor, yes, you need to go to college and be educated, right? There's certain things like that. No, you want to be an engineer, yes, you'll have to go to college. But there's a lot of shit that comes through the college. It's all brainwashing people, is what it does, right? And I mean the whole system, the educational system. From the time you're young, that's when they lock onto you in the fucking fishery. Anyway, I'm not the only one to say this. I'm saying this donkey's years. I hate to say so. But anyway, this man is saying it as well. So look, I'll throw it into the video. Again, sorry about the long one, but if you get anything from it, so up to the channel, hit the bell for notifications and give her a thumbs up. So with that said, God bless you and God bless your family, people of the world. Yeah? Pow-pow!
You push them to consume literal poison at every social event. You pump their cheap, everyday food full of sugar and addictive chemicals. And when that garbage food finally makes them sick, you sell them highly expensive pills that don't actually cure them, but just mask the symptoms. So they are dependent on the medical system forever. It is the perfect trap. You keep them tired, sick, broke, and divided in 100 different ways so they never realize they have the power to just walk out of the cage.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
give it up, give it up, give it up.